Could you use a quick tip daily? How about a tip that can impact your day? My name is Rafael. Join me as I bring you tips by experts around the world. These experts have shared their knowledge and wisdom with me and will directly share them with you. Make sure to subscribe, like, follow, and comment, and I would love for you to become part of the New Tip Daily community. Heidi, welcome to New Tip Daily. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Exceptional, getting better every day. Thank you for asking. I am super excited today because we're going to talk about profit with clarity. What does that mean? Most people don't even know what either of those two words mean
That
necessarily.
is so true. And that's a big thing that holds small business back is they're not making data-driven decisions in their business. Like a bigger business that can employ, say, a CFO, a financial team, they're able to really look at and analyze data and then make decisions based on that data. And so there is very easy ways now in the world that we currently live in for small business, even micro businesses, even if you're like a solopreneur, say a coach or a consultant, you can now look at your data and make smarter business decisions, know which of your products and services are actually profitable and what you should be doubling down on, what are not profitable and you could just let go of, where to spend your marketing dollars, where to invest your time and energy in your business so that you're actually making more money. And most importantly, you're keeping more money at the end of the day on your bottom line.
Yeah, love that. Love that. Keeping more money. Who doesn't want to do that, right? So small businesses are not necessarily having the financial team that they need. How do they start to establish such a reality, if you will?
Yeah, so there's something called KPIs. It stands for Key Performance Indicators. And there's some core KPIs that every small business needs to know. And that's it is a little cumbersome for a small business, especially like as soon as you start talking about numbers, I find that a lot of people, I mean, unless you're like an accountant by trade, you just shut down. Like very smart people all of a sudden like temporarily lose IQ points and kind of go into like a mental block. So that's, why I actually launched a software company that does bookkeeping and accounting and tax prep. And we built into it an AI financial coach that gets to know you and your business and actually helps you figure out all your KPIs. You just plug in some information and Clara, your AI financial coach, she and then tells you what you need to know in your business. So she'll tell you like, hey, based on this, what you should be focusing on right now is retention. That's the biggest issue in your business. Or based on this, you need to be focused on, lead generation, or these particular products and services are really dead weight for you. This is your, profitable one. One that's actually where I would recommend people start. Is if this is new to you, the very first KPIs that you should be looking at are figure out, so whatever products and services that you offer, what do you sell them for? How much hard cost does it take to deliver them? How much of your time and energy and bandwidth does it take to deliver them? And then what is the net that you're making, your net bottom line to you personally, like after all the costs, after all the expenses, per hour to deliver that? Because what we find, especially in really small businesses, like say a coach, a consultant, oftentimes the thing that's bringing in the most top line revenue, so it's like their bigger packages that they're selling for say $3,000 or $4,000, they actually often, not always, every business is different, are making the least amount of money per hour on those, because those packages usually have a big deliverable attached to them, where there are smaller bite-sized things that people offer that are just like highly profitable.
Yeah, I love that, because one of the things is that the numbers don't lie, right? They never do. That's why we love numbers so much. And when we think that we can start to plug in, I love the idea of plugging in your numbers to an AI that you've created. It's brilliant. But a lot of people, and you talked about it, a lot of very smart people shut down when you talk to them about KPIs. So like, what is that, first of all? And then you want me to know numbers? Oh, no, I can't know numbers. So they're going by what they think works, but the numbers are the ones that are going to really tell the story, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they're making then a lot of emotional decisions in their business or guesswork decisions. I'm guessing this works. I think this. And when you actually look at real hard data, often it tells you a different story. And so if you feel like you're overworked and underpaid, you're like, man, I'm working all the time. I'm grinding on this business. And, I'm busy and I have customers and I'm putting in the hours, but the net take home pay that's actually hitting my bank account after all of the expenses, after, I pay the taxes, like all of that doesn't equate the effort that you're putting in. It's most likely not because you have a fundamental business flaw. I mean, obviously it's possible, but that's usually not the case. Usually the case is you're putting your time and energy and bandwidth on things that are not really moving the needle. Like, I'm sure you heard the Pareto's principle, the 80-20 rule, right? Where if you just look at anything in the world, it usually falls somewhere near 80-20. So just as an example, if you were to look at the country that you live in, so if you live in the US, all of the bridges in the US that cars drive over, on average, about 20% of them get 80% of the traffic use, right? They're like used every day. People are commuting, they're in busy areas. And then 80% of the bridges are the ones that barely anybody ever drive on, right? Like they're in rural areas and all of that. And when you look at your business, chances are that around 20% of your customers, and these are just, rough, it's going to be a little different percentage based on the business, but around 20%, for sure, probably less than half your customers give you the majority of your net bottom line revenue. And so, and the things that you're spending your day-to-day time on, often you're going to find that that's true as well. You're doing things because you think they need to be done. Somebody on TikTok or Instagram's convinced you that you need to be spending a bunch of time on social media, or you need to be following the newest Reddit strategy, or the this or the that. And maybe, right? But maybe not. And so you need to look at the data and be like, what traffic sources are actually bringing in qualified prospective customers that are then converting into paid customers? Because there's probably a bunch of things that you think you should be doing that aren't really moving the needle. They're just, they're helping maybe, but they're not really moving the needle. So what if instead you double down on the things that were really working and you just let go all of this? You can just reduce your workload. So I have a personal example of this. So a previous business. So before I became a tech founder and launched software, I worked in the online marketing space. I built a few different companies. I sold 3 of the 4 companies that I built. And the last one was when I first started that business, I did get it profitable quickly. Within 90 days, we were profitable. Within the first year, I made 6 figures net profit. So it was a decent little business. However, that second year in, so I was making like decent money, right? Like I was taking home just kind of barely 6 figures, but I was working crazy hours and it wasn't growing. I was like stuck. And so it was like I was burning out and not increasing the income. And I was at this critical moment. And so that's when I stopped. And this is when I actually learned about KPIs, which is embarrassing to say, because at this point, this is my 4th business. Not that they're all small businesses, but it's like, I should have known this by then, right? But we don't teach this in schools, right? Which is a whole nother thing. I actually have a nonprofit around financial literacy that teaches teens and helps them launch businesses.
Oh, nice.
But, so then I sat down and I was like, all right, I'm going to figure this out. I am a smart person. Like something is wrong here. It doesn't, like the math doesn't math, right? Because I am working a lot. I have a product people want. I have paying customers. And so what I figured out was, my membership, I had a monthly membership program. I was like, that nets me the most amount of money by far. It is the most fun that I deliver. I have the best clients in there. They get the best results because they're actually committed. They're doing the work. They're, getting it right. And then I have these like lower level products that like feed in, and then these higher level services that are, that they can get as add-ons, and especially the higher level services, I realized, I was like, oh my God, they're draining my energy and time, and they're not actually producing a lot of net income. And even the little ones, it was just a lot of little stuff, and customer service and updating this, and then we changed this, and so then all the links and all the images and everything has to get changed, and I got to hire somebody to do that. It was just like drama for all of this stuff. And so I was like, what if we cut everything and we say, I am tripling down on this membership. All roads lead to membership. All the little cheap products, I actually ended up making them free lead generators into these things that I was selling for $27, $47, $67. I just made it all free and said, all roads lead to membership. And then I only did like one upsell, and I did it 3 times a year. And it was something that, I kind of worked out to like really make sense. Outside of that, it was just membership. And then you know what? I tripled the amount of members that I had. With a year later, I had netted over $300,000, and I traveled the world. I spent 6.5 weeks in India. I did, went to Bali, went to, all these places. And so I was working about 25 hours a week. I went from $100,000 a year to $300,000 a year in my pocket. And I loved my life more. I was working in my membership.
You had more time.
Yeah, I had more time, I had more bandwidth. And then I was actually even delivering a better service to the members because I wasn't maxed out, exhausted, trying to like do all these little products and then do these big products. Like I was just focused on my members. That's all I cared about. I wake up every day and think about my members. I'd get in the shower and think about my members and what I can do for my members. And so the members got happier. They got better results. We grew the membership. A membership is not right for every business. I know there's out there people out there preaching that. That's not the point of the story, like at all. It was right for that business at that time for that customer. The point is you need to figure out what's right for your business right now for your ideal customer. And I can't tell you what that is, but your numbers can.
It's so interesting that you're talking about membership, because if you look at most software companies nowadays, if you try to get Photoshop, you try to get Word, you try to get all these different programs, they used to sell them to you as back in the day as on a floppy disk or on a CD or anything like that. But now they're all basing everything on membership. So you have to pay for the yearly membership in order to get Photoshop or Adobe this or that, the other. And so they understood that in order for them to be able to truly give their members more is if they had a membership, because now they can update the software and not have to necessarily come out with a new software update. It just automatically gets done, and people are happier. Don't get me wrong, it's costing everybody more. The companies are making a lot more, probably 100 times more than they used to when they were selling the hardware, because people would buy the program, right? They would buy the program, put it on their computer, and never go back and get anything else. And so they would never update, or they would have to now I have to buy the update. But with membership, the update's already included. So it makes so much more sense for the business to do it. It is costing the customer more in the long run, right? But I think everybody's a little bit happier. And when we think about even 7-Eleven, you can have a membership to 7-Eleven now.
No way, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know, because they send me stuff on my app, right? Everybody's going after memberships, because now if you're a member, you get a discount. But their memberships are like nothing. Look at X. Look what Elon did with X. It was free, and now it's still free. But if you want, for example, as a podcaster right now, this is being shared on X, but only because I had to pay for it. So I have a membership to X, which is something I would never have thought of. And I was talking to my accountant, and you know what he said? I said, yeah, it's ridiculous. Now they want membership in order for me to, I'm not doing it. He goes, how much is it? I said, it's like $9 a month. He goes, are you kidding me? You're not going to pay $9 a month? He goes, why not? I said, you're right. Why not? It's only $9. And even if it was $20, it's still worth it. So then I
Right.
said, you know what? You're right. You make so much sense. Yes, maybe I'm not happy that I used to be free and I can do my videos on there, but now I have to pay for it because
Right.
I didn't have the right mentality until he said, are you kidding me? It makes no sense to you not to say, yeah, I'm in it, right? So a lot of
Right.
times we have to look at the bigger picture, right? As a
Yeah,
business.
for sure. For sure.
And I think everybody said Elon is crazy, which I'm not going to say he's not, but he's brilliant also, right?
Yeah, he is.
And I think what's going to wind up happening with all social media is they're all eventually going to charge. And it's up to us if we say yes or no.
Right. Right. Yeah. And already, and like on YouTube, you either get ads or you pay, and so platforms have to monetize some way. It's actually very expensive to run these platforms, like the live streaming and all of that. After I sold my last company, I went on a eat, pray, love sabbatical, got divorced, sold my business, moved. And then I ended up just taking some positions as advisors and, sat on some boards. And one of the companies I was advising, it was a blockchain gaming company. And I was shocked at the streaming fees that, they're paying for that. And so these platforms have, legitimate costs. And so they also have huge, or the big ones, obviously, if they get a huge amount of users, they have a huge opportunity to make a lot of money. But the getting off the ground is a significant cost that has to be paid somehow. So that you're either going to have to see ads or you're going to have to pay for a membership. Like, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Heidi, how does somebody become clear on profit? Because a lot of people are not seeing profit the right way. They are seeing money coming in, but they're not closing the back door. So the profit just leaves.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly why I built Cashflowy. I've worked with the small business, especially solopreneurs, in my different companies in different capacities over the last 20 years. And I knew that this is a huge pain point for them, the bookkeeping, accounting, trying to have a human bookkeeper that might make you tax compliant, but doesn't really understand KPIs, isn't making you smart about your business, takes 3 days to respond to a basic question, cost you a bunch of money. And now with the power of AI, we can just fix all that, right? You can have a very smart AI financial coach, a very smart AI bookkeeper that is significantly more accurate. Like traditional human bookkeeper is about 70% accurate, where AI is like 98, 99, right? And so what you need to do is, just from like a high level, you need to understand, obviously the gross revenue that's coming in. But like you said, a lot of people see that, like they know how much money's coming in. The problem is the leakage. That's like where, and so start with, like we talked about, each product or service that you sell and what the hard costs are. Then you have to obviously calculate in your base costs, because even if you were in a coma next month, provided your business didn't shut down, if it was continuing to run, there was cost, right? Like you pay for software subscriptions, you pay for tools, you pay for, maybe you have a virtual assistant, or you have like whatever it is, whether or not you make any sales in a month, you have a set of your base operating costs. So what are those base operating costs? So what are the base operating costs? And then what is the cost to deliver each of the products and services that you have? You need to be very clear on those. then the next step is there anything you can do to lower the base operating costs? So just as an example, I met with one of our new users last week, and she said, I had a human bookkeeper, an expensive software, financial software like FreshBooks or whatever she was using, I can't remember. And she's like, I canceled that, fired the bookkeeper because now I'm using Cashflowy, our software, and I'm saving $800 a month. And so now
hang on a
I'm
minute.
actually
Before you go any further, I think everybody wants to know what's the name of the software that you've created and how can they get it?
Sure, I would love, yeah. So it's Cashflowy.ai. And that's spelled just I don't know if, can everybody see in the chat if I type or not?
Yeah, put it in the chat. Go ahead.
Okay.
And I'll share it as well, right? If you put it in the chat.
Cashflowy, and it's just spelled that way, cash and then flowy.ai. So you can go check it out there. It's just $397 a year. You do not need a human bookkeeper. You can do all of your business finances in under 1 hour a month, even if you hate numbers, even if it shuts your brain down to think about finances. We got you. It's very easy. So your bookkeeping is done, your tax reporting is done, not your tax returns, obviously, but all the prep work for your tax return is done. And you have an AI financial coach that helps you be smart about your business. And we're actually building out right now, it'll be done in a few weeks. We're putting in a cash flow tracker. So you can actually see your ahead, cash flow tracking ahead and what to expect and if you're in trouble or not in trouble and how you're doing. And then a safe pay yourself calculator. Because what we're finding with our users is one of the big questions is, how much can I afford to pay myself? Because the amount of money in your bank account any given day is sort of irrelevant. You've already spent some of that, it just hasn't exited, and new stuff's come in, it just hasn't landed. So that number, yeah, you should pay attention to it, but it's somewhat irrelevant. It's not like a real number, right? And so they're like, how much can I pay myself? So we're putting a safe pay yourself calculator right in there. So it will tell you exactly what you can safely pay yourself right now. So that's coming out in a few weeks, which is exciting.
Yeah.
But
pay yourself first, right?
Pardon?
Pay yourself first.
Yes, pay yourself first. Yeah. Yeah. So looking at the core operating expenses, like what can you reduce from that? Oh, so this customer that I met with last week, she said, I'm going to take that $800. And she said, what I figured out is one of my new offerings that I want to actually double down on that's, profitable and I'm loving it. The lead source, the way that I'm getting leads that's actually working right now is ads. But the problem is you have to, pay for the ads and then you get the money later, right? Because you have to do a bunch of ads and then get, close the client and there's like a gap. And she said, I want to spend more on ads. So I'm going to take that $800 a month I'm saving and put it into ads. I'm like, that's perfect. Because now she's going to make more money and keep more money, right? And so looking at those base operating expenses, and now with the power of AI, there is a lot of things that you can automate, you can delegate to AI, you can use less humans, right? You can maybe cut like graphic design cost, website developer cost, even assistant costs, things like that, and lower that operating cost. So lower the operating costs. And also be sure to look at your subscriptions. And this is one thing Cashflowy does too. You're going to see, because you might be paying for monthly subscriptions or annual subscriptions that you stopped using that service and you just forgot to cancel it, or you thought you canceled it and you didn't, and that money's still coming out. And so you're going to be able to see that and take care of those subscriptions. So that's your base operating cost, lowering that. And then it's looking at the products and services that you're doing and what's actually profitable, what's actually putting money in your bottom line, and what you are enjoying doing and that people are getting the best results from. And then doubling down on that, maybe letting go some other ones. And then in that process, looking at your marketing. Are you spending time, energy, and money on marketing that isn't really converting? It isn't really delivering. Like maybe you've got a social media assistant, and so your social media looks really good, but are those people actually becoming paid customers? Or does it just make your mom more proud because you've got stuff on Facebook, right? So
yeah, no, I love it. And I'm thinking that what you have is so valuable that so many people need to listen, not only to this, but to listen to you in person. So I need to bring you to my events so that you can share what you're doing. And afterwards, after we finish the show, we'll talk. But when we consider everything that you're talking about, it's about making it easier, right? I think that a lot of people fight what's real, and the numbers are real, but they keep fighting it. They don't know their KPIs. So for me, one of the things is I have a ding on my phone. Every time money comes into my account, I get a ding. So I'm like, yes, right? So I understand the concept of money coming in, and then I have to make sure I go, oh, money came in. Let me go close that back door. Let me keep the money as much as I can so that my businesses can flourish. And then how can I take the money that's coming in here and invest it into making the business better, growing it, or putting into the other businesses that may need a little bit more influx, right? So I think that what you're sharing is brilliant, and I think more people need to hear it.
Great. Good. Well, I'm so glad that this is helpful.
Oh, absolutely. What's one thing that you, besides everybody has to go and get your information, did you put it in, oh, here you go.
Oh yeah, the chat here, but maybe it's like the wrong chat. I'm not sure.
No. I'm gonna grab that. Give me a sec, right?
Okay. Yeah, Cashflowy.ai. And I forgot, we actually have better pricing on the page right now. So it's actually cheaper, but only for like, we're switching over the page to the new pricing. So it's going to be the $397 a year in like, you got like maybe 72 hours. I forgot that page still has the old pricing. So you might want to start that free trial right now.
Go quick.
Free trial. So you can just try it out totally free. Also, I do want to stress it on purpose. We worked hard to make sure that it only takes 10 minutes to set up. We don't just say that on the page. It actually takes 10 minutes. Wow. In fact, there's some people that do it in like 5 or 6. And so, because I know that the last thing you want to do is set up some bookkeeping, accounting, finance, right? Like that just makes most people want to like throw up, right? And so we made it easy. We made it fun. If you just even look at the page, it's playful. It doesn't have a normal like financy, QuickBooks, right? And so that's how the platform is. It's very clean and bright and, flowy. It's very flowy. We want you to feel flowy about your cash. So you log in, you log in, you connect your banks. That takes about 3 minutes. The AI starts doing its thing. And then we have human accountants that you can meet with free of charge. So you get which I highly recommend doing. Everybody that doesn't do that, I'm like, what are you doing? Meet with a human accountant. They're free and they're really great. Like we trained them well. And I always hear back from people when they meet with one of our accountants, we give you a free onboarding call. They're always like, oh my gosh, they answered every question I've ever had. It was so great. My eyes are open. I'm like, yes, that's what we want. And then our customer service team. So if you're ever in the app, you've got smart AI that you just talk to 24/7. However, if the AI isn't giving you an answer that you like, or you're questioning it, or whatever's happening, and you want to talk to a human bookkeeper, 100% of our customer service agents are bookkeepers. So you can just pull up the live chat feature. It's not 24/7 though, that's like business hours, but you can pull up the live chat feature. And if you start chatting, you are actually talking to an actual bookkeeper. You're not talking to a, rep that doesn't know anything about anything. It's like a real, because we figure if you want to talk to a human, it needs to be a bookkeeper. You don't have a question about, right? Whatever basic question you'd have, your AI will just answer it for you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So let me share this with everybody, and then we'll be right back. Take a look.
The city never sleeps, and neither do the dreamers who build its pulse. From every corner of the globe they come. Visionaries, creators, leaders, each carrying a spark ready to ignite the world. This is not an event. It's a revolution of rhythm and reason. A symphony of minds. A movement of momentum. Sifu Rafael. set the stage for brilliance. This is the NYC Experience Mastermind. Light up the city. They coming from the east, coming from the west. Knowledge on deck, put the truth to the test. Leaders in motion, hearts in sync, dropping wisdom so deep it'll make you think. They bring stories, sweat and flame, different faces, one shared name. Elevation, that's the sound. NYC Experience Mastermind, where purpose is found.
And that's where I need you to come.
Looks very cool.
Oh my gosh, we have so much fun, but there's so much that people get when they come to our experiences, because it's an actual experience. We do a mastermind. It's all just fun, but information. That's why I said you need to be there so you can connect with so many people. I think a lot of people would love to see you there. If you're able to, right, to join us.
I appreciate the invite. My company is a U.S. company and we serve U.S. customers, but I actually live in Portugal. So I am quite a long ways from Tampa.
We're doing Ireland. How's that? In April?
Ireland? Yeah, Ireland's close. That I could do.
Okay. Well, I'll send you info on Ireland. But
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right?
I'll actually be in Tampa, but not until June. So the dates are not lining up, unfortunately.
Okay, all right, no worries. But here's the thing: I love what you're doing, and I'm listening, and I'm saying, wow, I know these many people who are starting their businesses. They can definitely use what you're doing. Cashflowy.ai. I'm going to throw it on here again so that everybody can follow it, right? They need Cashflowy.ai because they're just starting out. Would you say it's really good? And you say it's cheaper than $397, and you said it's a free trial. How long do they get a free trial for?
14 days. So 14-day free trial. Yeah. Yeah. And it's perfect for, especially if you're like a service-based business, or maybe you sell an online program, you kind of fall into the solopreneur-ish category. I mean, you could still have like an assistant, you've got some contractors or something, but your business is really you. So you're some type of a, service provider, or like I said, running an online program, something Cashflowy is going to work really well for you. The AI is really built for that.
Nice. So what happens, like, for example, I have several businesses. Do I have to get different subscriptions for each business? How does that work? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, different subscriptions for each. And then we are rolling out a new feature where we're linking all of your logins together. So then in the left-hand corner, when you're in, you just toggle between all your different accounts. And so that's, getting rolled out soon here.
That's a lot easier. I remember there was a program, I forget what it was, and I would have to log off, come out, remember my password for that one, and come back in. And I kept saying to them, I said, can't you just make it a toggle so I can pick which one?
We're doing that. Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. Yeah, that's going to make everybody's life easier, especially if you're dealing with different entities, if you will, right?
We were surprised at how many of our customers wanted more than one account. That was actually a shocking. We just came out of beta, so that's why the price is going up right now. And so while we were in beta, we didn't even consider, because we're like, usually if you have a small business, you just have a small business. And we're like, no, their spouse has a business, they have a side hustle business, they have, they have this other business that's been running, but this is like their new business that they're focusing on, but they're still running this one because there's still income, and so we're like, oh, we have to do this. So anyway, we're doing that right now.
Wow, yeah, good for you. Congratulations. I am so happy that we were able to spend some time today. And I'm looking forward to having you on some of my other shows because you bring so much value and your energy is off the charts. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Everybody, do me a favor. Heidi is going to share with us not only why it's important. You got 45 seconds, why somebody should connect with you, and maybe even have you in Portugal to go do some speaking events or whatnot in your area. Right? So Heidi, 45 seconds, tell us why somebody should reach out to you.
Well, if you are, a small growing business, you want to work less, make more money, the software is built for you. If you've got an audience like that, like maybe your audience, your customers fall into that, then we do have a great affiliate program. Please, reach out to me either on social, or you can put my my contact here in your show notes. But come on over to our website, or you can just, my name is on social. There's not very many Heidi DeCoux, so you can find me very easily. DM me on, LinkedIn or Instagram. Those are the two main ones that I use, and would love to get you set up as an affiliate. Happy to speak to your audience as well. We can either do that virtually, or if we're somewhere in the world near each other at any given time, it could potentially be live in person as well.
Love it. Absolutely. Everybody make sure, I'm going to put in the show notes so that way you can connect with her. Make sure you share the show with somebody. Somebody needs to listen to the incredible messages that were delivered today, and just share it. Be a friend. Be someone that somebody can go, wow, that was a great one. Thank you so much. So Heidi, really appreciate you. Do me a favor, hang out for a minute. We're going to say goodbye to everybody. Take care, everybody. Have a blessed day.